So it was at this time that Portia let us know in her confessional that after she got off the phone with Dennis and PJ, she received another phone call. And this phone call was to inform her that Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ty and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts and the reviews I share are from my perspective. But I can guarantee that at least a few of us are thinking the same things while we're watching these shows. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are a return viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. I just want to remind you all to please like, share, and subscribe. If you dig this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support this channel and its growth. And y'all, I am back with a whole new review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 8. So go ahead, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. So y'all, we open up this episode with my favorite, Shamia. She's sung a new ditty for us, y'all. She wrote and sung a new song for the opening of this episode. And it's basically just recapping what's taken place so far on this birthday trip for Portia. Now, it's a cute little ditty, y'all. If y'all haven't watched the episode, go back and watch it. But pretty much what she's saying is that there's a whole bunch of drama that's going down in Nashville on this Nashville trip, y'all, on this Nashville birthday trip. And she pretty much won the bull riding competition. So there you have it. So y'all, it's day 2 of this Nashville birthday trip for Miss Portia's birthday. And all the ladies are getting up and getting ready for the day. Britt FaceTimes Mike and tells him that she loves him, she misses him, but she's having a good time on this trip, honey. And she's giving him the lowdown as to what happened at that dinner the night before. She says that Angela kept advocating for Drew to come on the trip. And like I said, Britt pretty much repeated that it was not Angela's place to invite Drew on this birthday trip. It's not Angela's birthday, it's Portia's birthday. And it was uncalled for. And after this peace brunch last week with Angela and Britt, Angela and Britt aren't 100% back on track. And Britt says that now her guard is up when it comes to Angela because she can pretty much see just how messy Angela is. We can all see that, child. Shamia is on a FaceTime call with Gerald, and Gerald is at the doctor's office with baby Shiloh. So Shamia is telling the doctor that Shiloh's had some congestion for the last 2 weeks. So after the doctor does her exam, she says that Shiloh has an ear infection and that she'll need some antibiotics. In Shamia's confessional, she says that with everything that they've gone through, all of their struggles with Shiloh's health, that Gerald has been there and he has been present. So this man wants a son and she wants to go ahead and give that to him. And you know what, y'all? I love this for them. I love the love that they have for one another. But more importantly, I love the love that they have for their children. No matter where a mother is, if your baby is not doing good, you're not good. And seeing Shamia be so emotional here in this scene that she could not be there with her baby because she's on this trip, it just really tugged at my heartstrings. So I really felt for her here in this moment. But Gerald is there. Gerald has it on lock. And again, I love the love that they have for one another and for their babies. Cynthia goes outside and she sits down with Angela and asks her how she's doing. And Angela says, you know, last night was a lot. Now, the night that they're talking about is the night that they went out for Portia's birthday dinner at this venue where they did the bull riding. In the flashback scene, Portia says that Angela's nickname is Victimina because Angela basically started all the drama by inviting Drew without Portia's permission. and kept bringing Drew up at this dinner when Portia felt like the focus should have been on her and her birthday. So all the ladies that were at this dinner, you know, they were asking about where Drew was at. They started saying some stuff about Drew, that she may have been giving some fellatio to Dennis. And Angela's just kind of sitting there like, what's going on? Like, she's trying to have Drew's back when Drew's not there in that moment. But then all the ladies started kind of getting on Angela for inviting Drew there in the first place. So Angela was kind of like, everybody's on me. And so that's how she got the nickname Victimina. You started all the drama, then you wanted to sit back like, what did I do? What's going on? What's happening? Like, she had no part to play in it all. Angela, baby, you brought this on yourself, honey. You did this. It was not your place to invite Drew. And if you want to be messy, well, then you just got to take what comes with the mess, honey, and that's it. That's that. Angela tells Portia that she's a ride or die. Basically, she's loyal to her friends, but the other ladies just don't seem to get that. And they're on her because it just seems like she's all up Drew's behind. But that's not it. She's just advocating for Drew because Drew was not there. And Cynthia tells Angela, like, look, Portia feels how she feels, and that's what it is. These baby daddies hit different. And Drew put herself in the position when she started doing what she did with Dennis, you know, when she kept bringing things up to Portia about working with Dennis, and Dennis is her Lord and Savior and Jesus Christ and all of that, y'all. Dennis can do no wrong. Dennis is her angel in disguise. So yes, Drew did put herself in that position, and Dennis is the father of PJ, of Portia's baby. So they are bonded for life. They are family for life. You cannot come in between that. So Cynthia said, don't let one of these ladies come talking about they trying to work with Leon or film with Leon. Like, that ain't happening. And Angela says she gets that. But again, she was just advocating for Drew in Drew's absence. Cynthia says she does not believe that anybody there at the house has an issue with Drew except for Portia. And Angela says, well, that's something that they need to iron out. But not on a birthday trip, Angela. Hello. Like Britt told you before, you need to read the room, honey, because you ain't reading it, or you're dyslexic or something. You ain't reading it right. Now, Cynthia also asked where Drew was at. And Angela says, oh, she's on the way. But I guess she had landed 3 hours ago, and I guess she's still on the way. I don't know how far away this airport is from this home that they're all staying in. But child, it must be a long drive, or Drew had to mentally prepare herself to walk into this house and deal with maybe what she was anticipating Portia's energy was going to be. Cynthia and Angela go back inside, but when they're walking in, you know, it's hot. Angela's bestie, her little personal fan, is not outside with her. So she's talking about how hot it is and how her wig glue was coming undone. And Angela, your wig glue is always coming undone, child. Maybe it's time for you to look into some different wig glue, because you are always seeming to have that same issue with your wigs. Charleston told you about it episode 1. So let's get it together, honey, with this hair. So y'all, Drew finally arrives at the house. She walks in and Cynthia's like, oh, finally you made it. So they hug, and Cynthia's kind of giving Drew the rundown as to what they're doing that day. Some of the ladies are going to do a whiskey tasting. Some are going to do a mixology course at Coyote Ugly. But Cynthia doesn't know which group of girls is going where. In Drew's confessional, she says that she was contemplating not coming on the trip. Drew, I'm thinking maybe you should have contemplated that a little bit harder. But Drew says that she decided to go ahead and come because an olive branch was extended to her and she was trying to extend it, I guess, to Portia. The olive branch was extended to you by Angela, not by Portia. But Drew says that somebody has to make the first move to try to smooth things over because they've been friends for years. Okay, child. Drew goes upstairs and finds Angela's room. Angela's sitting up there getting her makeup done. So she's like, hey, girl. Angela's like, hey, girl, glad you made it. Hey, go check out your room. It's right around the corner through those doors. And Drew's like, okay. And Angela's like, yeah, go check it out. And then she starts laughing. And Drew was like, well, what's up with the room? Angela's like, just go look at it. Just go look. So Drew gets the room with the 2 bunk beds. And she's like, oh, this is giving like orphanage vibes. Well, girl, be lucky that you got a bed at all because you were not invited on this trip. Portia was gracious enough to extend the room with the bunk beds in it to you. So you got not 1, but 2 beds. So you should be feeling extra special. You know, beggars cannot be choosers here, Drew. So now Drew goes back to Angela's room and Angela was like, have you had a chance to talk to Portia? And Drew was like, well, no. And Angela's like, well, I think you should. And Drew was like, well, why? What's up? And Angela's like, do you see these battle wounds, these battle scars that I have? I went to battle last night. I went to war last night. And Drew was like, well, basically, you did that to yourself. So Angela, the woman that you're trying to go to war for, basically just threw you under the bus and was like, hey, you did it to yourself. And did. You wanted to be messy, so welcome to the mess. And in Angela's confessional, she says she had it to do all over again. She wouldn't change a thing. She would still invite Drew because she doesn't give a damn. Well, I'm pretty sure these ladies don't give a damn about Portia getting in yo behind inviting Drew. So there you go. So all the ladies are downstairs with the exception of Portia and Shamia, who are still upstairs getting ready. They're having a little drink, getting ready to leave out the house to get these activities started. Drew comes back downstairs, changed to her Nashville attire, and they're all ready to get the day going. They're already having drinks. They're already ready for the fun. Upstairs, Shamia and Portia are chit-chatting, and Shamia's like, what is this, Portia? And she pulls out a plate of ribs, half-eaten ribs. Portia said, oh, yeah, I had that. We had a date. They had a breakfast date, she and them ribs. She said them ribs was busting the night before and it was just on her mind. She wanted them ribs the next morning for breakfast. So that's what she did. Y'all, like I said in my last review, if there's one thing Portia's going to do is eat. Portia knows how to eat. Candy knows how to eat. And I love it. Ain't no shame in their game when it comes to throwing down with this food, y'all. And I'm with it. So Shamia's like, Portia, we going to have a good day today. It's your birthday. We going to have fun. But are you going to be cool with Drew coming here? And Portia says, it's all good. So then they flash back to about 45 minutes prior when Cynthia texts Portia to let her know that Drew had arrived. And they're trying to figure out which group Drew is going to go with. Is she going to go with the whiskey tasting group or is she going to go with the bartending group? And Portia said Drew can go with whatever group she feels comfortable going with. So, hey, it seems like Portia does not have any ill feelings or any bad energy towards Drew right here in this moment. Now, who Portia does have a little bit of negative energy for is Angela. She says she was sitting up there telling that thing, aka Angela, aka LaToya Jackson, last night about her gaslighting her. She felt like Angela was gaslighting her behind this whole Drew situation. And so Shamia, being the good friend that she is, she's like, I'm going to just tell everybody no gaslighting today. And I know that's right, Shamia. Shamia is a stand-up, loyal, true blue friend to Portia, and I love it. I love all of it. So now Portia and Shamia are ready. They go on downstairs, and Drew was there. They're all getting ready to head outside, but Drew turns around. She sees Portia, and she says, hey, happy birthday. And Portia says, hey, how you doing? And they actually hug. So again, this just goes to show that Portia does not have any ill energy towards Drew right now. Portia said in her confessional that she didn't express herself. She said what she said, and it's done. She's not going to have daggers for Drew every single time she sees Drew. She's not about the drama. She's all about having a good time today. And she's showing it here in this scene. So now, y'all, everybody gets on the sprinter, and the sprinter's making 2 stops. So some of the ladies are going to make a stop at the whiskey tasting. The others are going to go to Coyote Ugly and do this bartending course or class or whatever it is that they're doing. So on the back of this sprinter, Kelly, Shamia, and Britt are all sitting next to each other. And Britt says that she needs to call her sister, but then Shamia kind of turns her back towards Britt and starts fanning her face. And then we see that she's crying. She actually got very emotional here in this scene. So initially I was thinking that she was probably still emotional behind the phone call with Shiloh and Gerald at the doctor's office. But what Shamia lets us know here is that she was married for a year back in 2008 to a man who was physically abusive towards her. And we flash back to a scene where a few seasons back, Kenya did a PSA that featured women who were involved in DV relationships. And Shamia was one of the women that was featured. So Shamia says that she had a friend back when she was married, and she tried to tell her friend why she was divorcing her husband, the first husband. And the friend just kind of gaslit her a little bit and just kind of pushed her away and shut her out. So all of a sudden, this friend, I guess it was on her heart to reach out to Shamia and apologize to her via text. And that meant a lot to Shamia. It really got her very emotional, which is part of the reason that she was crying. It was an emotional day with the doctor's appointment, with her not being able to be there with Shiloh, and then her receiving this text from this friend from all these years back, apologizing. That just kind of validated Shamia's experience and what she went through. And she was happy to receive that text. So I'm glad that it's kind of like she's getting a little bit of closure here with this friend. One thing that I notice about Shamia is she's usually always the life of the party. She brings the fun, she brings the fun energy. But when it comes to her and her becoming emotional like this, it seems like she doesn't like the attention or the focus to be on her. Now, one of the other women that were featured in this DV PSA was Cynthia's mother. So to kind of deflect and get some of the focus off of Shamia, she asked Cynthia, "How's your mom doing?" And she genuinely wanted to know how her mom was doing. And, you know, it just kind of made her go back in time, brought up some of those memories for Shamia for doing that PSA. So Cynthia's mother came to mind. Cynthia says, "My mom is doing great." So now in Cynthia's confessional, she says that she loves her mother. Her mother is one of the strongest women that she knows. And with all of the sacrifices that her mother had to make, she just doesn't know how her mom did it, but she did what she had to do to keep going. So she's got so much respect and so much love for her mother. Now, Cynthia says that she was not aware that Shamia had gone through so much because she's always bringing the fun. She's always the fun energy. So her heart really goes out to Shamia in this moment because she's gone through so much, but yet she still is able to keep a smile on her face. So the first group of ladies have gotten dropped off at Coyote Ugly, and it's Portia, Shamia, and Kelly. So they walk into the bar. There's bartenders standing behind, ready to serve them up some Casa Azul. It's their first shot of the day. So the bartenders are like, "Get on up here on this bar." Then we flash over to the second group of ladies who are now at the whiskey tasting. So this group of ladies includes Cynthia, Britt, Drew, and LaToya. At the whiskey tasting, the ladies walk in and there's a gentleman there ready to serve them up their first taste of whiskey straight out of the barrel. So he tells them, when it comes right out of the barrel, it's got to open up a little bit. So let it open it up, let it breathe, nose it, smell it. And Britt is like, "What's nose it?" So back over at Coyote Ugly, Shamia, Kelly, and Portia are getting ready to take their first shots, Coyote style. And the bartenders tell them that coyotes don't have any hands. So they get up on the bar and they're taking these shots, hands behind their back, hands off the shot glass, straight off of the bar top with their mouths. And they're throwing them back like pros. At the whiskey tasting, the ladies are sipping their whiskey like ladies, but that whiskey's putting some hair on their chest, y'all. That whiskey's kind of strong. It's that old, good Nashville bourbon. Back over at Coyote Ugly, Kelly, Shamia, and Portia are now behind the bar, mixing up some drinks. Actually, Portia's sitting on the bar, like the birthday princess she is, like the birthday queen she is. And Kelly and Shamia are behind the bar mixing up some drinks. Shamia's got the shaker. She's shaking up some drinks in her hands. She's putting some drinks in the back of her pants, down her pants. She's twerking, shaking up some drinks in that shaker, y'all. She's literally shaking it like a salt shaker with her behind with them drinks at Coyote Ugly. Y'all, they might as well go ahead and hire these ladies, okay? Because the way Shamia's getting down with this shaker, it's like she can teach them how to mix up some drinks. Back at the whiskey bar, Drew was saying that she should extend another olive branch to Portia. So she was like, what if I get her a bottle of whiskey and put our picture on it? And Cynthia's like, yeah, that's perfect because Portia's got a little bit of a cough right now. So this whiskey should go ahead and clear it right on up. Back at Coyote Ugly, the bartenders leave. They're done with the bartending course. So Portia, Kelly, and Shamia are up there chit-chatting. Kelly's asking, so what's the plan for the night? And Portia tells Kelly that she's planned a cowboy dinner back at the house. They've been out drinking all day, so she knows the ladies are all going to be lit. And it's good just to go back to the house, have a nice dinner. Everybody should have a good time. Portia says even Drew should have a good time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the house, eat this dinner, and turn up. So then Kelly asks, well, what was up with your other friends at the dinner last night? Do they know Drew? And Portia tells Kelly that, yeah, the group of girls that she invited outside of the cast to this trip, which included Monietta Shaw, Ami, and I apologize because I mispronounced her name during my last review. I called her Amy, but her name is Ami. And there was another lady there. I cannot remember her name. Her name begins with the P, so forgive me. I apologize. I forget the other friend's name. But they were all asking where Drew was at because they all run in the same circles. They all know each other. They're all very friendly with each other. So they were like, well, we're all here. Why isn't Drew here? But Portia is like, that's pretty much what that was. These ladies know Drew. Drew wasn't here, so they're asking what's up with that. But Portia was more concerned with Angela's energy because Angela kept bringing Drew up at this dinner. And Portia's like, listen, you didn't tell me you didn't invite Drew. I didn't invite her, but I'm not going to have no static with you about it. I said it's cool, so let it just be that. Stop bringing her name up. So Shamia lets us know that she rode to the peace brunch in a Sprinter with Angela. And on the way to this brunch, Angela said that she felt that Drew was talking stuff about Angela to Kelly. So then we flash back to a scene with Shamia and Angela in this Sprinter talking about all of this. And Angela's like, you know, Kelly may have been throwing some shade and that'll come out, but I'm more concerned about how Drew, my friend, reacted to this shade that was being thrown. And Shamia was pretty much like, yeah, that part. Angela, I don't know when you're going to learn. I don't know how well you really know Drew, but Drew is not the girl I feel that you need to be riding hard for. If that's really what your intention is here, that you are just riding for Drew and trying to have Drew's back, I don't really think this is the one you want to do that for. Just being real. So after hearing this news, Portia was like, you know, it makes sense now why Angela was going so hard for Drew to be on this trip. Like, you wanted her to come on this trip, then you keep bringing her name up at this dinner. You're kind of like making a negative tone or negative vibe surrounding Drew coming here. So now it all makes sense. You're being messy. You setting Drew up for the okie doke. And I'm so glad that Portia said that here in this moment because I said it from jump. I said it last week in last week's review that Angela was doing nothing but being messy. She's saying that she's riding for Drew and that Drew is her homegirl and she wanted her on this trip because she didn't really know anybody else and she was going to be missing her Chicago homie. But girl, please, I clocked that from jump. You want it to be messy. You have no problem being messy. So I am so glad that Portia peeped it and called it out. Back at the whiskey tasting, Angela's telling Drew, we missed you last night. And Cynthia's like, yeah, how many ladies did you get into it with at the table about Drew? Angela's like, she went to war. And so Drew was like, well, what happened? And Angela's like, I feel like Portia was hurt because I invited you without her permission. So that was on me. That was my fault. And Angela, I'm glad that you're taking some accountability here, but the person that you need to be talking to about this is Portia. You need to be apologizing to her for stepping outside of your lane and inviting Drew on her birthday trip. I appreciate the sentiment here with you, owning your part and owning what you did, but you really need to direct that to Portia. So Britt says, you know what, Angela, you were playing the victim. And Angela's like, how am I playing the victim? And she pretty much broke it down. She said, you caused all the drama that happened last night. You brought all the heat on yourself. And now you want to throw your hands up like, why am I catching all the heat? Because you brought it with the mess by inviting Drew. Hello. Are you present, Angela? Are you okay, girl? So Angela was like, well, give me another example. Britt says, at the peace brunch, I felt like nobody was being empathetic to me and my feelings and what I was going through. Y'all were pretty much just like, well, it's even, so get over it. Angela says that Britt came in with a sense of entitlement. Britt is like, I didn't even get a chance to tell my truth, to tell my side of the story. And so 50 Cent, Miss Cynthia Bailey, let 50 Cent out. And she said, listen, y'all cannot tell this woman how she can come into a room, what kind of energy she needs to have, when she was pretty much just embarrassed at this opening thrown by Kenya Moore. She said, unless y'all have had pictures of yourselves with a man's member inside of your mouth, strewn up all over Atlanta, you cannot tell Britt how she should feel or what kind of energy she should come into a room with. And Britt was like, I was sitting up in my house crying for 3 days, devastated, embarrassed. And y'all were just all concerned about how Kenya was feeling. Y'all didn't check on me. And so Drew was like, well, us coming to this peace brunch was our way of being there for you and supporting you. Now, both Drew and Angela admit that there were some missteps in that whole communication at the peace brunch. But Drew says, missteps aside, we were just really missing our friend, but that does not invalidate how you were feeling. We're not saying that you're not right or that you're wrong for feeling the way that you felt. And Cynthia agrees. She's like, yeah, you know what? Two things can be true. Britt says she hears what Drew was saying. And then Angela follows up and says, we had a war of words. I said some things that were hurtful to you. I was trying to be hurtful. You said some things that were hurtful to me, but I apologize for the things that I said because it was wrong. And so Britt says, look, we're here today. We can put all that aside and just move forward. And I'm glad that Angela is holding herself accountable for some of the things that she said to Britt at this peace brunch and that she is apologizing. In Angela's confessional, she's pretty much saying that she's being authentic and being real with this apology. And it does come across as sincere. So for now, LaToya, I'm going to say that was a sincere apology. And I'm glad to see that it happened. So y'all, we're done at Coyote Ugly. We're done with the whiskey tasting. All the ladies get back on the Sprinter. Britt is sitting in the back of the Sprinter looking like she's about ready to fall out, pass out, something. And so the ladies are like, well, Britt, what's going on with you? And Cynthia's like, oh no, she right there is a lightweight. She cannot handle her liquor. Britt said that she had like one little glass of whiskey and that was it. She was done. Now we flash back to the whiskey tasting and we see 50 Cent, Cynthia kind of throwing them back. I think they had like about 5 or 6 or 7 different whiskeys to taste, and Cynthia was tasting and enjoying each and every one. And I love seeing this side of Cynthia. We've seen Cynthia really grow throughout her time on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She came on not really super reserved, but I can just tell that she's been through some things since then. There's been some evolution, some growth. And now Cynthia and 50 Cent, I guess they've kind of morphed into one person, and I love it. I'm here for every little bit of it. So y'all, now we're back at the house. The ladies are tipsy. They done been day drinking. Dinner's at 8. So some ladies are going to take a nap. Some ladies are going to chill until it's time for dinner. And Cynthia and Britt had a little moment outside. Britt is telling Cynthia, I appreciate the level of empathy that you showed me at the whiskey tasting. It meant a lot to her. And Cynthia is like, oh, you're welcome. And I just love the energy that Cynthia is giving to Britt. I love the energy that Cynthia is giving to all the ladies. She's not taking any sides here. Cynthia is just keeping it real, being authentic, but she does still have that loving, caring, empathetic side to her. Portia's up in her room wearing just a really beautiful all white outfit, beautiful white cowboy hat. She's FaceTiming Dennis and PJ and just checking in on them to see how they doing. The ladies get dressed. They go downstairs and they're waiting for dinner. First person to go downstairs is Miss Cynthia. What else is going on? Bailey and 50 Cent. And there are some cowboys downstairs in the kitchen serving up some drinks. So this beautiful black cowboy comes over and hands Cynthia a drink. And I could tell there was like a little energy between them. There was a little bit of flirtation. He's asking her, is there anything else I can get you? And she's like, no, thank you. I'm fine. And Cynthia's like, just go ahead and fold me on up, honey. Okay. Cynthia is open, ready to mingle. She's ready to pull out that lasso and wheel her in a cowboy, y'all. So all the rest of the ladies come downstairs dressed for dinner. They're looking at the cowboys like, hey, cowboys. Somebody says, oh, I need a whip. And then somebody tells Britt, we know you got a whip. They're like, oh, Britt, we know you got a whip. And she was like, I do, but I don't have it with me. So they all kikiing, having a good time, laughing it up. Shamia's like looking at all the ladies, all the titties are out. She was like, I don't know which one of y'all want to milk first. And then Portia comes in and she's no longer in all white. Portia is dressed in all black now, and her energy is down. Like something is off, something had happened. So all the ladies are like, well, Portia, what's wrong? Are you okay? And Portia's like, are we going downstairs? Is dinner downstairs? And I believe it was Cynthia that was like, yeah. And so she was like, well, come on, let's go. And they were like, okay, well, let's go then. So before they head downstairs, Shamia kind of pulls Portia aside and is like, what's wrong, friend? Are you okay? And Portia's like, yeah, no, I'm hot. And so Shamia knows her friend enough to know that when Portia's wearing all black, something is not right. It ain't a good sign. So it was at this time that Portia let us know in her confessional that after she got off the phone with Dennis and PJ, she received another phone call. And this phone call was to inform her that Dennis and Drew had indeed been filming for this show. Y'all, I knew she was going to find out during this episode. The way she found out, though, and on her birthday, I have to give it up for Portia for the way that she's handling it, because I imagine that she was going to go all the way left. But also, Portia is so hot. She is pissed. She's so pissed that she's just quiet. Y'all ever been so pissed, so angry that there were no words? You couldn't say anything. You just got quiet. And that's when you know you are pissed off to the highest level of pistivity. Well, that's what Portia is right now here in this moment. Pissed off to the highest level of pistivity. Now we flash back to 2 months ago when Portia and Dennis had the conversation in the backseat of this car, when Portia was like, if you film with anybody else on this show, if you film with Drew on this show, we're going to have a problem. And then as we know, it was just several days later when Dennis and Drew were filming together. So now Portia's got to go down here and sit at this dinner with Drew and look at her in the face. And with Angela, the woman who invited Drew on this birthday trip. And she just got to deal with it. Again, I give it up to Portia because she didn't flip all the way out. She is hot. So now all the ladies are downstairs outside by the pool, and there's a little bit of a show before they sit down to eat. So out comes this cowboy. He's a little plus size cowboy. And he's like, yeehaw, y'all. Welcome to Nashville. He's like, yeehaw, y'all. We got a line dancing. Some line dancing I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all how to get down on the get down with this line dancing. So all the ladies are like, well, okay, all right. And then the other cowboys that were in the kitchen come down. They're part of the line dancing crew. So now they gather all the ladies together and show them how to do a little bit of a line dance. So now the cowboys are showing them how to do this line dance. Shamia, being the star that she is, got it down right away. But the other ladies are struggling a little bit. Angela, I don't know what kind of, she's doing like an OJ shuffle. Angela's doing what she wants to do. Kelly's got 2 left feet, so she's going around in a circle. These ladies, they were doing some kind of dancing, but it wasn't line dancing. But Shamia, she had it down. She was putting her own little spin on it. I mean, she had it down pat. So now after the line dancing, all the ladies sit down and they start to chit chat a little bit before dinner comes out. So now the ladies are talking about how much of a good time they're having on this trip. It's been fun, but Portia's energy is still off. It's still very low. So Kelly and Britt are asking her, like, are you okay? What's going on? And Portia says that she took some medicine and that she's tired now. She wasn't trying to tell them all exactly what happened. And I get it because Drew was there, Angela is there. She didn't want to give them anything to feed them. You know what I mean? They're looking for some mess and she wasn't trying to give it to them. So Shamia says that she knows her friend is big mad at something. So they get to talking about the whiskey tasting and Britt says, yeah, me and Angela talked and, you know, we kind of worked some things out. And so the ladies are like, oh, what did y'all work out? What did y'all talk about? And Britt says, well, Angela, go ahead and tell them, you know, what we talked about. And Angela says, well, I was called a victim and I don't really know why I was called a victim. And so Britt is like, well, so then the whole conversation that we had, it was for nothing, pretty much. So Angela says, well, I know that you said that you and Portia share the same sentiment. Angela's like, what did you call me, Portia? Victimina? Nah, LaToya, she called you Victimina. Victimina, like you being right now, Victimina. And so Shamia's like, nah, Portia said you be gaslighting. And Angela's like, how do I gaslight you, Portia? Portia, you know, trying to avoid the conflict. She was like, I don't remember. And she continues to eat her salad. So Britt says, you know, I think Portia didn't like the fact that you invited Drew when Drew wasn't invited. And so Angela was like, well, Portia never told me that Drew couldn't come. And Shamia's like, listen, on this FaceTime call, on the Zoom call that we had, Portia said that everybody that was on the call was invited. And Angela was like, well, Drew wasn't on the call. Maybe she missed the call. Angela, you know good and damn well that Drew was not on the call because Drew was not invited. So then I think it was Shamia or somebody asked Drew, were you invited to the call? And Drew said, no, I wasn't. And so Angela says, well, you know, I don't understand why I'm the only one that's being held accountable. And Kelly says, that's not true. And Angela turns to Kelly and it's like, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, you brought it up, you know, so they flash back to Shamia's birthday party where Kelly asked Portia, why did you take that lady's man? And so Kelly says, listen, these are 2 different scenarios here. One thing has nothing to do with the other. And Angela says, oh, no, that's not true because Portia never took any accountability Portia never answered the question. This is something that we all want to know, that the world wants to know, Portia. So she's purposely poking at Portia, trying to wake a sleeping bear. Honey, what you don't understand is Portia's not trying to sink down to Angela's level. So Cynthia says, you know what, I think we should all just move on. Portia, would you like to answer Angela's question? And Portia says, no, I would like Angela to kiss my ass. So calmly. And Angela's like, the rest of the world can kiss your ass. And Portia says, no, you first. Again, so calmly. And Angela's like, so that's what time we on? And Portia says, that's what time we're on. It's like that. Ooh, I love it. I love Portia's responses. I love how she just still gave Angela some dry ass energy. So in Angela's confessional, she was like, I don't want to kiss, fix a flat. So now the food is coming down finally. And Drew says, you know what, let me just address the elephant in the room, Portia. I know I wasn't necessarily invited here by you, but do you want me here or do you want me to leave? Because the energy just feels off. So Portia's like, you straight. Just like that, you straight. And so then Drew says, okay, well, I think I'm going to leave and remove myself because I don't have to be here and the energy is not inviting and da 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 da. And so everybody is like, oh, Drew, don't go. Sit there and eat your chicken, Drew. Like, Drew, don't go nowhere. And Drew's like, no, I'm going to leave. I wasn't invited here anyway. And so then she goes and Portia just sits there and looks. Like, Drew, Portia's not going to chase after you to be like, oh, no, girl, stay, please stay. Like you said, you weren't even invited. So in Portia's confessional, she's like, it's the drama for me, so sayonara. So back in Portia's confessional, she says, you know, I could have met these women where they were, and I would have set this whole place on fire if I wasn't already dealing with the BS I'm dealing with these men in my life. So at that point, Portia's like, I don't know what's going on with this one over here, referring to LaToya. And she was like, the drama with this one over here, talking about Drew, she was over it. So Portia got up and left her own birthday dinner and went upstairs. So now after this, Shamia and Angela go to check on Drew. And Drew starts getting emotional and starts crying. She feels like, you know, she's being beat up on. And meanwhile, Portia is in her room on her bed and Miss Cynthia Bailey comes up to check on her. So she's like, hey, you know, friend, I know that was a lot. What's going on? Are you okay? So Portia discloses to Cynthia that right before she had come downstairs for dinner, she received a phone call with some news that was disappointing. And this is the phone call that she received letting her know that both Drew and Dennis had filmed behind her back. And Portia is just explaining, you know, when you're going through divorce and you're just going through stuff and then you're taken out of that, you're in Nashville having a good time, celebrating her birthday. And then she gets a phone call that kind of pulls her right back into all the mess and the drama and the BS that she was trying to escape from for a little bit just to celebrate her birthday. It just feels like a lot. And then they were leaving the next day to go back to Atlanta. So now, you know, instead of being able to enjoy her birthday dinner, she's got to deal with the news that she just received and then go back home tomorrow and deal with life all over again. And like I said, for her, it just kind of felt like a pile on. So then Portia says that her energy was off. It wasn't necessarily directed at Drew or even LaToya, aka Angela. It was just a lot. She was feeling overwhelmed. And so Cynthia asked Portia about the dynamic with her and Drew's friendship because Cynthia thought that Drew and Portia were cool. So while Cynthia is saying this, Portia's pulling off her lashes, child. She's like over it. And Cynthia's like, no, don't take the lashes off, not the lashes. And Portia's like, we're breaking down. we're broken down. Y'all are breaking down. You're broken down. Y'all are just down. So Cynthia and Portia get a good laugh out of that. So Cynthia says, look, child, I'm gonna leave you alone. I just wanted to get a little bit of clarity on this friendship with you and Drew. Cynthia says, I feel like everything kind of went to the left after this whole Dennis situation. And Portia says, look, if I started a podcast with your ex-husband and we filmed it on the show, and then you found out about it secondhand after the fact, how would you feel? And Cynthia said, I would not like it at all. And Cynthia has been said, baby daddies hit different. So Cynthia gets where Portia is coming from 1000%. So Portia says, literally, that's all that it is. And she was like, I'm not going to bring it to Drew. And, Angela, I don't even know where that came from, but I'm not going to, put all this energy on her. And in Portia's confessional, she says that Dennis is the one that's obligated to her, not Drew, which is correct. So she was like, I'm not going to bring that energy to Drew, but Dennis, on the other hand, he going to get all of it. Take all the hot out of that man's dogs, okay? He should be getting all of it and then some. So Portia thanks Cynthia for coming on the trip. Cynthia's like, you know what? We had a good time. I'm glad I came. And she's glad that Portia took the time to celebrate herself because she is going through it with this divorce and with everything else going on. Then she tells her, you know what? They can't count you out, Portia. We don't fall down. We fall up. Oh, I love that energy that Cynthia is giving Portia right now because Portia needed it. But then Portia says, you know what, Cynthia, you're home. And y'all, the love that these two are showing to one another here in this moment, like I am here for it all. That's why I love me some Cynthia. I love me some Shamia. Y'all know she is my favorite. But now, Miss Bailey, she's an OG. She done been through it all. Through all the ups and downs of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And like I said, I love her growth. I love their transition. I love everything that I'm seeing from Cynthia right here. And I absolutely love this moment between these two. So she gets Portia in a better mood. And Portia's like, you know what? Let's go downstairs. Let's go to the pool. She decides to go ahead and buck up and join the other ladies downstairs. They go downstairs. She was like, I know these other ladies are naked. Pan to Britt in this all gold bathing suit, looking like a blow-up doll, kind of, sort of. Britt was looking a little, it's her body. It's her body. And I'm not saying it's a bad body. It's an enhanced body. And so she's looking like an enhanced Britt in this gold bathing suit. So all the ladies are in their bathing suits, except for Angela, old Granny Angela, who's upstairs getting ready for bed in her bonnet. Okay. Britt is like, it's Adult Swim, bitches, let's go. And Adult Swim it was. So now the ladies are down there in the pool. They twerking, they dancing, they drinking, they throwing dollar bills, they jumping in the pool with hats on, with chaps on, with boots on. Y'all, they just having a good time. And this is what a girl's trip should be. But then we got old creepy Angela. So she says that it was about 3 a.m. She was on the phone with Charles. Her room was overlooking the pool. And so she overheard some conversation taking place down at the pool. So she pulls out her camera phone to start recording. But she says that she heard her name so much, she had to go downstairs and see what was going on. Because she heard her name and Charles' name being brought up. So we see a little bit of this broken down cell phone camera footage from Angela. It only lasted about 2 seconds. And then we see Angela down at the pool asking the ladies, hey, I heard my name. What's up? So then we see Portia walk away. She gets out the pool. She goes upstairs. She's walking away and she was like, not on camera. And that was it. Now, y'all, when we see the footage of what happened down at this pool, I mean, the ladies were living it up. They were having a good time. They were drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking some more. And y'all, we already know they've been drinking all day. They started off in the morning with drinks. They went to the whiskey tasting. They went to Coyote Ugly and did the bartending. They got back to the house. They were drinking. They were drinking at dinner. They were out here by the pool drinking all night long. So yes, these ladies were inebriated. They were gone. Okay. They were gone with the wind, gone. I'm not going to say gone with the wind fabulous, but they were gone with the wind. They were gone. Angela in her confessional says that she overheard the ladies saying something that she wished she had not heard. They were talking about her dress. They were talking about, you know, what she was wearing. And then she overheard Portia say, well, I should just F Charles. And baby, that was it. Again, Angela was down there at the pool. Like I kept hearing my name. I heard Charles's name. What's up? And then that's when we see Portia leave away from this pool, walk away from this pool and go on back upstairs. So now the producers are asking Portia what was said at the pool last night. And Portia says, I didn't say anything. Anything. Now we know that Portia's drink is Hennessy, baby. Since we've seen Portia on this show, since we've known Portia on this show, her drink has been Hennessy. So she's blaming it on the alcohol, blaming on the alcohol. She's blaming it on the alcohol, honey. But I don't know if that's good enough of an excuse here at this point. You said I might as well just go ahead and F this woman's husband. So Angela says in her confessional that when Portia talks about effing your husband, you got to take it seriously because she's done it before, referring to the whole Fallon and Simon situation. So the next morning, Angela's got her bags packed. She's waiting by the front door, ready to leave. Kelly comes down and is like, hey, friend, good morning. And Angela's like, you know what? I don't want to be fake. So, hey. And Kelly's like, what's wrong? I just said good morning. And Angela's like, I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be fake. Good morning. And Kelly is like, well, what do you mean? I'm like this all the time. I'm like this every day. And Angela's like, yeah, I know. Good morning. And so then that was pretty much it. She and Drew pack their bags and hop off into their SUV and head on to the airport. And we hear Angela in the back of this SUV telling Drew that Shamia is a puppet, that all these bitches are puppets. They're all fake and phony. So after that, y'all, Angela says the buck stops here. She's done with the BS. And that's the end of the episode. Y'all, there was a lot going on in this episode. There wasn't really too much happening in the beginning of the episode, but towards the end, after Portia found out what didn't happen with Drew and Dennis, y'all, that was pretty much it. She was over them. She was over Drew for damn sure. She was really over Angela. And after she had a little bit of alcohol in her, well, as Angela said, all of her truth fell out. So there it is. Y'all, I'm anxious to see what's going to take place next episode. And you know what? I'm still really over this Drew, Dennis, Portia triangle thing that they got going on. It made for a decent episode this week, but I'm really looking forward to Phaedra coming back on the show. I really am. I feel like we need something uplifting. And as I mentioned in my previous reviews, I do miss me some good old frickin' frack. Now, they were entertainment. They were entertaining. And Phaedra with the one-liners, with the shade, you know, I'm ready to see it all. I'm ready to see how she's going to get along with the newer ladies on the cast. But y'all, let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know if you think that Portia was overreacting, if Drew was overreacting, if Angela was in the wrong for inviting Drew to this birthday trip, and if Portia was in the wrong for mentioning Charles and saying that she wanted to go ahead and F Charles to basically get back at Angela. Let me know if y'all thought that the ladies were wrong for talking mess about Angela down there at the pool. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what you thought about this review. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, y'all, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to tell someone that you love them today, even if it's just yourself. Love y'all. Peace.